A German missionary on a journey on the Philippine island of Mindoro. His destination, a Mangyan village. Once the island belonged to the small-statured islanders. Now they are a minority, despised, persecuted, deceived. Over and over again, they are driven out of their huts, chased off their land, because other people covet their farmland. Peaceful as they are, they have nothing with which they can oppose those exploiting them. Not long ago, the Mangyan thought of Christians as thieves and murderers. A missionary showed them that the God of the Christians was on their side. They trusted him because he did not just talk. Father Ewald Dinter has fought for them, for clean drinking water, for a school, for their land. With the Father by their side, they have started to believe in the future once again. What the missionary has done for them has very much to do with a man who died in a faraway Europe 100 years ago. He had got it into his head to take the gospel to the remotest corners of the world. (1875). A man is spending days in a train. Untiring, he is on his way right across Germany. Actually, the Catholic priest is a mathematics teacher, but other plans are not giving him a moment's rest. He's got it into his head to set up a training center for missionaries, a pious hope, as the times are extremely unfavorable for such an undertaking. The German Empire has declared war on the Church. What will go down in history as the Kulturkampf is a ruthless reduction in the influence of the Church on state and society. Monasteries are being dissolved, religious orders forbidden, and bishops thrown into prison. Chancellor Bismarck is confronting Pope Pius IX. When Jansen explains his plans for a missionary centre to the Archbishop of Cologne, the latter flies into a rage. We're living in a time in which everything is tottering and seems to be collapsing, and then you come along and want to start another new project. Jansen's answer is clear. Precisely because so much is being wrecked, something new has to be created. Actually, Jansen is the wrong man for this undertaking. A rather quiet, not very eloquent, unimposing man, but one encounter has made a deep impression on him. A year ago, he got to know Monsignore Raimondi, an apostolic prefect responsible for the China mission. If he thinks a German missionary center is necessary, then he should found one himself, the missionary from Hong Kong had said to him. Afterwards, Jansen lay for hours on end on the floor in prayer, plagued by doubts. Then he took the burden upon himself. Like a man possessed, he's now traveling around the country in search of allies. His mission is not unsuccessful. In his pocket, he has already got the signatures of 32 bishops who support his plan. Nevertheless, many still have reservations. The right idea from the wrong man? One bishop put it in a nutshell. Either he's a fool or a saint. The Maas, near the town of Venlo in the Netherlands. Beyond the river, the mighty towers of St. Michael. We're in style. No one would have dreamed that a once so sleepy village would become the nucleus of a worldwide missionary movement, that thousands of missionaries would start out from here to pastures new. There was already a ferry here in 1875, and a pub. In search of suitable location for his missionary centre, for which authorization in Germany was out of the question, Jansen went to the Dutch border area. There, supported by donations, he could buy a property. He had taken the first step. In August 1875, the first future missionaries arrived in style. A joiner who wanted to become a priest, and who first made the rundown pub inhabitable. 2 theologians, and Jansen the priest. The beginnings were pitiful. Everything was in short supply. Fortunately, Jansen's natural brother, a Capuchin monk, soon turned up to provide the four with food. No one had any idea that a massive missionary centre would grow from such makeshift beginnings. At the opening of the centre on the 8th of September 1875, Jansen was almost embarrassed. The guests probably considered it as much mockery to be invited, he wrote later. In his hour-long sermon in the church in style, he explained, "But even the mightiest tree begins as just a small seed, and the strongest giant begins as a weak and wailing child." A wailing child. One heard the enormous difficulties. People thought he had delusions of grandeur. Wherever he went, he was looked upon with pity as a person who was suffering from an extravagant idea. Church dignitaries acknowledged on the one hand his devoutness, but on the other they said he seemed to be lacking the gift of wisdom, tact, and discernment. He lost a lot of weight and was amazed that he didn't become even more ill. But instead of encouraging him, even his comrades in arms complained to him about how strict he was, about the unsatisfactory food. At the end of October, a new recruit arrived, the theology student Johann Antzer. Before long, an argument had broken out with regard to the objectives of the missionary centre. Jansen wanted the missionaries to be involved in scientific research as well as their primary task. The others wanted just to reach out to the unsaved. Not until 2 of Jansen's opponents left the house did it get better. With Antzer, Jansen could agree on the common goal. The Society of the Divine Word existed to spread the gospel among the non-Christian peoples of the world. Its members were to be teachers or missionaries. Much as the initial struggles wore him down, they couldn't stop him from taking visionary decisions. He founded his own printing works. Jansen had already published a small magazine at his own cost in 1874. With the Heart of Jesus Messengers, he wanted to encourage people to pray for the spreading of the gospel and the unity of Christians. It was in this monthly magazine that he first expressed the desire to found a missionary centre. Now that he had achieved that aim, it became clear to him that the success of his undertaking also depended on whether or not he could get people enthusiastic about his idea. The press seemed to him to be the ideal means of communication for such a task. "Whoever wants to spread something good," he wrote, "must make use of whatever means seem the most appropriate in the circumstances." His first printing press soon grew into a flourishing business that needed ever more staff. The Heart of Jesus Messengers was joined after 3 years by a new publication, The City of God, the first significant family magazine in Germany. The Michaels Calendar, which he published already, had a distribution of 80,000 copies by 1886. With the printing press, Jansen not only laid the foundations for a reliable source of income, he created a mass medium with which he could bring home to vast swathes of the population the importance of evangelism in the Christian faith.